Well, we're finally back. I've got another chance to start working on my Lincoln. Time to get started on this old girl. Last summer we bought this car and I bought a 1977 Lincoln Continental because I wanted this. This is its big ass Ford 400 cubic inch engine. It's got the torque we need, it's got the displacement we need to move this behemoth of American engineering back here. Made a list of things I need to get done to get this car drivable. This is like the pre-list. I haven't figured out everything we need, but this is the ones I can think of right now. So first thing I want to do is remove these two inner fenders, that one and this one down here, just so I have some more room to maneuver. Then I'm gonna do the brakes. Right now there's no brake booster. The 70 car came with hydro boost system on it, so it's got the hydraulic pump for the power steering, which this has hydraulic power steering, and the brakes. So hopefully this steering box works. I kept the rack from the other car too. So I want to get the inner fenders removed, get the brakes, just the master cylinder on. So I got in on the passenger side of the President Continental, pulled off the brake caliper and the brake disc, and I said, well, why don't I take it over to UC the Premier and see if it fits? And lo and behold, she slides right on. It's a promising first sign. I think I'm still planning on replacing the whole knuckle here, but if I can't get it off, if it doesn't fit, should be able to make something work with some bracketry for the disc brake caliper on the drum brake spindle. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna keep taking it apart, and I might get in here and take these apart and see what we can make work. Turns out Ford's a bunch of lazy smucks, and the Lincoln Continental to Lincoln Premier disc brake conversion is a direct bolt-on swap. All we did was pull the knuckle off of the Premier and the knuckle off of the Continental, and they've got the same bolt holes and the same bolt pattern, even down to where the steering bolt's in. So we just swapped it, and that's it. Done. All we gotta do is put the caliper on, then we can put the wheel on. Last time we got the brake rotor and the knuckle on. Today I slapped the brake caliper on. Obviously, there's no brake line, but we've got the steering, we've got the upper and the lower connected in. All that's left to do is just same thing to the other side. We're gonna get back to work. Crammed the Continental knuckle and the brake and the rotor onto this side, and we're all ready to put the tire on it. I've got the hydro boost cylinder here, the master cylinder out of the 77, and then this is where it should go. See, we've still got the brake pedal there. All we really need to do is find a way to mount this here, but it's pretty clear to see those bolt holes don't line up. So I want to be super duper careful about making new holes in the firewall here. So I don't want to just go willy-nilly drilling holes in a nice new firewall to fit this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of cardboard. I'm going to mark up some holes in this and then see if maybe I can build an adapter plate for the firewall. Importantly, I got to figure out how to hook this up and what kind of like springs and stuff we might need. I made a template here just by shoving a piece of cardboard over on top of this. That way there's no measuring, there's no guesswork in these holes. They all line up exactly. I'm gonna kind of trim this down, figure out what I want to do with getting this attached to the firewall. I've been working on this a little bit more, and what I figured out is this is where the brake pedal ends up in the fully depressed position. So this would be slamming on the brakes. And this master cylinder has this really long neck that sticks out off of it. And in the 70s Lincoln, this was right up on the firewall and everything in there was set up to fit this. When this is fully compressed like this, right, that is the brake slammed position on this master cylinder. You can kind of see that this piece plus a little bit of this shaft stick out still, even when it's all the way compressed. What that basically means, sorry, I'm getting my hand in this. is that this has to sit way far off the firewall instead of flush up against it like in the other car, which I think means I'm gonna have to do some serious fabrication work on this. Get a plate of steel, put it here like this, 4 holes that bolt into this, and then spacers where these holes go on the 77's master cylinder. Alright, so to kind of show off my idea, I had to break into some pretty advanced 3D CAD here. So what I'm thinking is a steel plate on the front with threaded holes, these will be the holes, for holding the brake support, steering column support frame to the firewall. So there will be 4 bolts threaded into there from the inside. And then 4 holes here. See, I'm still working on it. I was gonna want them to be threaded, but these are studs. So they will have to be through holes, and we'll have to get a nut on this and crank down with a nut. So that's gonna have to be an open-ended wrench. Yeah, so I'm still working out, but it's gonna have to be something like this with a spacer in it that'll allow us to get the proper actuation that we need for our brakes. So here's how I'm going to do this. This larger piece with this hole drawn in the center is going to be around the Hydro Boost brake booster. So that hole's going to slot around here. And then this piece, the smaller one's going to attach to the firewall of the Lincoln. And then they're going to be bolted or welded together, and that's what's going to hold everything in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this hole saw bot, which is a bit bigger than it needs to be, but that's fine. I'm going to drill this hole out and then line it up on here, remark these 4 holes so that they're, well, I'm going to mark one of them. I'm going to drill them out on here and use these for alignment pins so that I can be confident that everything is properly lined up, even though I don't have any good measuring tools. Then once I get that, I'm going to use the brake pedal lever to line up the holes on this, and then take it back out to the valley, line up these parts on the actual car, weld it all together, and we should have a brake master cylinder. Alrighty, so I've got this bracket that I've been working on for the brake mount. The master cylinder is going to mount here, and then this is going to bolt to the firewall, and this gives it the proper spacing so that I can actually use the 77's brakes with the 57 car. I'm just going to weld these 2 other tabs on this side, and then finish weld all this stuff up, and hopefully it'll work out. Alright, so got it all welded up. The welds aren't too terrible. Some of them are pretty rough. Some of the later ones that I got to aren't so bad. So I'm going to clean this thing up. I don't think I'm going to throw a coat of paint on it today, but then I'm going to test fit it and see if it'll work. Alright, so there it is. basically installed in the car. It looks kind of ridiculous, and this sticks out way farther than I think it should. So I'm gonna leave it and hope it clearances the engine when we get around to it. See down here, I'm missing one of the 4 bolts in there. Oh, hi dog. Hi Ollie. Say hello. Dog, dog, dog. I'm missing one of the 4 bolts in here to make it work, and I think I'm going to go get longer hardware so I can weld the heads of the bolts to this steel plate, but that's for another day. I'm going to call that good for now. Alright, so with all that stuff on the outside, I've finally got a brake pedal. If you can see through that hole up there at the top, it's actually actuating the lever, comes back on its own. So I need to find a pin for this, a pin for this. I lost a bolt for the pedal. That'll all be pretty good. Then I need to get some longer 1/2-inch hardware to get the steering wheel on. And then I can start tackling the next things. Alright, so I'm still working on the brakes here. What I'm thinking of doing is this little T is where the 57 car diverted brake pressure to the back and to the front. There's one here for the passenger side. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this to the fittings, so just kind of crush that end and make them plugs. So I'm going to have this one plugged, and then from the 77 car's brake pressure regulator, I'm going to run the line to the back, which is that one, straight into there, and then I'm going to run the lines to the front from here. So that way I'll have some amount of pressure split front and rear, instead of it just being all 50-50. Hopefully that'll work out well. And I'm going to try and reuse as much of this old line here and like this one as I can, so I can save money buying brake line. Alright, so that's pretty much as far as I got on the brakes this year. Sorry the audio in this video was super messed up. I got to figure out what my phone microphone is doing. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to try and get more work done, and hopefully you'll see the next one. Bye.